Picture this. It's 2018. Teenagers across the US are biting into laundry detergent pods. You heard that right. Actual poison, just to rack up views on social media. At the same time, millions of people start claiming the Earth is flat, ignoring centuries of science and, photos from space. And right now, literally as you're watching this, there's probably a brand new conspiracy theory spreading like wildfire online. But here's the wild part. These aren't just a few people acting dumb. These are massive waves of collective behavior. Huge groups of people all falling into the same bizarre beliefs. It's not random stupidity. It's something deeper. The kind of contagious madness that sweeps through society like a virus. So the big question is, why does this happen? Why do the dumbest, most dangerous, most surface-level ideas explode in popularity, while deep, thoughtful truths barely get any attention? Over 100 years ago, philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche had a chilling answer. And honestly, it feels even more relevant today than when he first said it. He wrote, "Madness is rare in individuals, but in groups, in parties, in nations, and in eras, it is the rule." Think about that for a second. Nietzsche's not saying that individuals aren't capable of madness. But when people gather into groups, that's when madness becomes normal. The herd doesn't protect us from stupidity. It pulls us deeper into it. But why? What is it about human nature that makes us drop our critical thinking the moment we become part of a group? Nietzsche blamed what he called the most dangerous force in all of society, herd morality. Now here's the controversial part, and warning, this might make you a little uncomfortable. Nietzsche argued that what we call morality isn't really about truth or justice or being a better person. Instead, morality is just herd instinct. It didn't evolve to make us wise. It evolved to make us obedient, predictable, equal. He wrote, "Morality is the herd instinct in the individual." In other words, your moral compass might not be guiding you to truth. It might just be telling you how to fit in. It's not about right or wrong. It's about not rocking the boat. Now apply that idea to the internet. What kind of content goes viral? Is it the stuff that makes you question your beliefs, pushes you to learn, helps you grow? Nope. The ideas that take off are the ones that feel good, that confirm what you already believe, that make you feel like you're part of a tribe. The intellectual equivalent of fast food, quick to consume, zero nutritional value. Let's say someone shares a meme dunking on the other political side. They're not starting a deep discussion. They're basically just raising their hand and saying, "I'm with the team." The message of the meme barely matters. What matters is the tribal badge it displays. This is exactly why conspiracy theories catch fire so easily. They promise people a kind of secret knowledge. They let you feel like you're part of an elite group that gets it, while everyone else is still asleep. But the irony is, conspiracy theorists just form another herd. A herd of so-called free thinkers who all think the exact same thing. And here's the deeper truth Nietzsche saw. Most people are absolutely terrified of standing alone. Back in the 1950s, psychologist Solomon Asch ran a famous experiment. It was super simple. People looked at a line and then had to say which of three other lines matched it in length. It was obvious. A child could do it. But here's the twist. Asch planted actors in the room to purposely give the wrong answers out loud. And what happened? Most of the real participants gave the wrong answer too, even when their eyes told them otherwise. About 75% of people conformed at least once. They ignored reality just to fit in. Nietzsche believed this was the biggest obstacle to human greatness. He said, "He who would learn to fly one day must first learn to stand and walk and run and climb and dance. One cannot fly into flying." Translation: most people never even take the first step. They never learn to walk alone, to trust their own eyes, their own thinking. It's just too scary. Why? Because our ancestors who stood apart from the tribe, They didn't survive. They got left behind. Or worse, attacked. So today, we're wired to conform. Deep in your brain, there's still a voice whispering, "Go with the crowd, be safe, don't stand out." And that's how dumb ideas win. They're not just tolerated, they're welcomed. Because they give us comfort, they give us belonging, they give us a reason to stay inside the circle. But Nietzsche didn't stop at just explaining our fear of standing alone. He pointed out something even darker. Something we all recognize but rarely admit. It's not just that we fear people who think differently. We hate them. He called it resentment, a kind of toxic resentment, the kind that bubbles up when someone dares to rise above the crowd. It's not enough to ignore them. We feel a deep need to bring them down. Think about it. When someone becomes super successful, wildly innovative, or even just different, what's the first reaction we see online? People don't usually say, "Wow, that's inspiring." Nope. The instinct is to dig up dirt, find the hypocrisy, mock them, cancel them, humiliate them. Anything to remind the world they're not better than us. Social media has taken this instinct and turned it into a sport. Go look at any comment section under a viral post. The moment someone stands out in a way that even looks like confidence or intelligence, the knives come out. And the more successful someone is, the more brutal the backlash becomes. It's not a coincidence. This is exactly how dumb ideas go viral. They don't just make people feel included, they give people someone to hate together. It's not about loving the idea. It's about bonding over a shared enemy, the elites, the experts, the so-called intellectuals. There's a kind of perverse satisfaction in believing that all the smart people are secretly idiots, that your gut instinct is more trustworthy than someone's years of research. That's the revenge of the herd. It's not just about belonging, it's about dominating anyone who dares to graze outside the fence. Now, let's zoom in on why this keeps happening. It's not just social or emotional, it's also neurological. There's science behind this. Enter Nobel Prize-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman, who discovered something called cognitive ease. Here's the idea. Your brain is wired to like things that are easy to process. Simple sentences, familiar phrases, repetition, stuff that just feels like it clicks. So when you see a flashy headline like, "You won't believe what this celebrity did," or "This one weird trick doctors hate," your brain goes, "Oh hey, that was easy. Must be true." Not because it is true, just because it felt smooth going in. That's cognitive ease. It's the same reason slogans work so well. Make America great again. Just do it. Think different. Short, repetitive, feels good in the brain. But it doesn't stop there. There's a second psychological force at play, social proof. This was studied by psychologist Robert Cialdini. Social proof is our instinct to copy what others are doing, especially when we're unsure. It's built into us from childhood. If everyone else is looking at the sky, you look up too. If everyone's clapping, you clap. So what happens when you combine cognitive ease plus social proof? You get viral stupidity, a dumb idea that's easy to understand and appears to be popular spreads like a perfectly engineered virus. Your brain doesn't ask, "Is this accurate?" It asks, "Does this feel good? And do other people seem to agree?" If both boxes are checked, you're hooked. This explains everything from clickbait headlines to conspiracy theories to those TikTok trends that make you shake your head. It's not about truth, it's about psychological appeal. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Researchers have studied how different types of content spread online, and there's a clear pattern. Content that triggers emotions spreads way faster than stuff that's just informative. Anger spreads faster than facts. Humor spreads faster than logic. Fear spreads faster than reassurance. And outrage. Outrage obliterates everything. This isn't a bug in the system. It's a feature. We're social creatures. Our brains evolved to share emotions. It's how we connect. When we laugh at the same meme or rage at the same injustice, we bond. We build community. And social media algorithms, they've figured that out. They're built to surface content that triggers your strongest feelings. Because that's what keeps you scrolling, clicking, sharing. The platforms don't care if it's true. They care if it's engaging. And that's the danger. Because the truth is often boring. It's complicated. It takes time to explain. It makes you think. It doesn't give you a dopamine hit in 5 seconds. So what gets shared isn't what's true. It's what's emotional. And once again, Nietzsche saw this coming. He wrote, "There are no facts, only interpretations." He wasn't saying reality doesn't exist. He was saying, people don't respond to facts. We respond to stories, to emotions, to meaning. And meaning, more often than not, comes from belonging. That's what the herd gives you, not knowledge, connection. So what does all this mean? It means when we're sharing stuff online, whether it's a meme, a post, a hot take, we're not just passing along information. We're performing a ritual of tribal bonding. Every like, every share, every clap back at the enemy, it's a way of saying, I belong here, I'm one of you. And Nietzsche warned us, this kind of thinking isn't just a quirk of human nature, it's a massive cultural danger. He wasn't trying to sound edgy or contrarian. He saw herd thinking not just as a psychological phenomenon, but as a force that could shape and even destroy entire civilizations. When a society starts prioritizing conformity over thought, comfort over truth, agreement over understanding, it slides into what Nietzsche called mediocrity. He wrote, "The surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently." Sound familiar? Look around right now. Ask yourself, how many of our schools reward students for asking hard questions versus just repeating the correct answers? How many news platforms encourage deep discussion versus giving their audience what they already believe? How many workplaces genuinely reward independent thought versus punishing anyone who rocks the boat? The answers aren't great, and the trend lines, even worse. Dumb ideas don't just get clicks, they influence laws, they decide elections. They shape what your kids are taught in school and what policies get passed in government. We like to think of memes as harmless, but they're often the first draft of a worldview, one that spreads fast, embeds deep, and influences real behavior. And this isn't new. History is full of examples where societies collapsed, not because they didn't have brilliant minds, but because those minds were silenced by the herd. The Soviet Union had world-class scientists, but the government forced them to conform to ideological doctrine. Disagreeing wasn't just unpopular, it could land you in prison. Nazi Germany had one of the most educated populations in the world, but education became a tool of propaganda, not of truth. Independent thought was replaced by rigid loyalty to the state. The pattern is always the same. First, questioning becomes uncomfortable. Then it becomes risky. Then it becomes impossible. And here's the terrifying part. Thanks to modern technology, this process now moves at warp speed. We don't need secret police to enforce conformity anymore. All it takes is a viral post, a cancel campaign, or a trending hashtag. The herd doesn't need whips and chains. It has algorithms. So what happens when the wisdom of the crowd becomes the madness of the mob? What happens when we confuse most shared with most true? When the democratization of information turns into the democratization of delusion? That's not a hypothetical. That's the world we're living in, right now. But here's the good news. There's still a way out. Nietzsche called it intellectual courage. It's the ability to think thoughts that might isolate you. To stand firm in your thinking, even when the crowd moves the other way. And that starts with awareness. First, pay attention to your own reactions. When you feel that rush of smug satisfaction from sharing a post that absolutely roasts your opponents, pause. When you feel that warm glow of being part of the in-group, liking what everyone else likes, question it. When something just feels so obviously right, so emotionally satisfying, so clickably true, double-check it. Because that feeling, that's your herd instinct kicking in. And it's not a guide to truth. It's a warning flare. Second, start building your resistance. Call it cognitive resistance training. Just like going to the gym for your body, this is how you get mentally strong. Seek out smart people you disagree with. Listen to their best arguments, not the worst strawman versions. Let yourself be uncomfortable. It's a sign you're stretching. And most importantly, practice saying this magical phrase, "I don't know." In a world that rewards hot takes, instant opinions, and snap judgments, not knowing is weirdly radical. But that's the whole point. Most viral ideas thrive because they offer false certainty, simple answers to complex problems. That's the hook. That's the trap. Saying, "I don't know," might feel weak, but it's actually the beginning of real strength. And yeah, it comes with a cost. Nietzsche didn't sugarcoat it. He said, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. This struggle, it never ends. There will always be pressure to conform, to keep things easy, to say what everyone else is saying. And the rewards for going along with the herd? They're immediate. Likes, applause, acceptance. But the rewards for thinking for yourself, they're different, they're deeper, they're slower, they're lonelier, but they're also the only path to meaning." Now here's the part that really stings. We're not just surrounded by dumb ideas. We're actively building a world where smart ideas can't survive. Every time we reward what's viral over what's valuable, we reinforce this system. Every time we click on a headline because it's spicy, not because it's smart, we're voting. Not with ballots, but with attention. And those votes shape the entire ecosystem of the internet. We've trained our collective brain to crave junk food, mental sugar, fast takes, easy answers. And like any system that runs on sugar, we're seeing the crash. A kind of intellectual diabetes. We've consumed so much low-effort content that many of us can't even tell the difference between actual insight and something that just sounds deep. You know the kind, those quotes that go viral because they feel smart but say absolutely nothing. That's the new normal. And here's what makes it worse. It's not just individuals making bad choices. The structure of the system is tilted. Social media platforms, search engines, even recommendation algorithms, they're all built to reward engagement. And what gets engagement? Outrage, simplicity, tribalism, not nuance, not complexity, not truth. So it's not just that we prefer dumb ideas. We're now becoming the kind of people who can't help but choose them. The system pushes us that way. Every scroll, every click, every share pulls us further from independent thought and deeper into herd behavior. And kids, they're growing up inside this machine. We used to bump into bad ideas by accident. Now they're baked into the feed. The moment a child picks up a phone, they're stepping into an ecosystem designed to exploit everything Nietzsche warned us about. Our fear of standing alone, our need to belong, our delight in attacking outsiders. It's not just entertainment anymore, it's programming. And Nietzsche, he saw both sides of this. He famously said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." But he also understood the flip side. What makes us too comfortable makes us weak. And make no mistake, we have built a world designed for comfort. Everything around us is optimized to be frictionless, seamless, pleasurable. But the cost of that comfort? Depth, effort, growth. The more we lean into comfort, the less we build the muscles for independent thought. So what do? We start by remembering this. You still have a choice. Yeah, the herd promises comfort. It offers the dopamine rush of fitting in, the thrill of shared outrage, the warmth of agreement. But that's not freedom. That's sedation. Nietzsche offered something harder, but more meaningful. The herd gives you approval. Thinking for yourself gives you purpose. You can play it safe. Keep scrolling, keep liking, keep echoing what everyone else is saying. Or you can risk discomfort, doubt, and even isolation to actually think. Because in a culture where dumb ideas go viral, precisely because they're dumb, the most rebellious thing you can do is slow down and think clearly. That might not get you likes, it might not go viral, but it's how real change begins. And let's be honest, we need that more than ever. The systems we've created, our media, our schools, our politics, many of them are collapsing under the weight of shallow thinking. What started as a few silly memes has evolved into full-blown worldviews. The lines between entertainment, ideology, and identity have completely blurred. So we have to draw our own lines. Internally, mentally. We have to decide what kind of thinkers we want to be. Because here's the truth. The herd will always take you back. You can leave. Wonder. Question. Doubt. But the moment you're tired or scared or lonely, the herd is there, arms wide open. Come back. It's easier here. We all believe the same things. We're safe. But once you've tasted real independent thought, once you've pushed through the fog and touched that sharp, uncomfortable clarity, you can't unsee it. You'll realize why Nietzsche thought it was worth any price. Because it's not just about being right, it's about being awake. So now the big question, can you afford to think independently? Or maybe the better question is, can you afford not to? Because in the end, the dumbest idea of all, the most dangerous, the most contagious, is this one, that someone else should do your thinking for you. Look, we're all susceptible, every single one of us. No one's immune to the pull of the crowd. No one's brain is perfectly rational 24/7. The desire to fit in, to belong, to be right, it's baked into us. It helped our ancestors survive. But we don't live in caves anymore. We live in a world where ideas travel at the speed of light, where lies can circle the globe before the truth gets a chance to hit post, and where the crowd isn't just a group of people nearby, it's the whole internet. Billions of voices, fighting for your attention, trying to tell you what to think. So yeah, independent thought is hard, but it's never been more important, because every decision we make, from who we vote for, to what we believe about science, to how we treat other people, is shaped by the ideas we accept. And if those ideas are garbage, then the decisions that follow will be too. So what does resistance actually look like? It's not about being a contrarian for the sake of it. It's not about rejecting popular opinions just to feel edgy. That's just another form of herd thinking, just with a different costume. Real intellectual resistance is quieter, slower, more grounded. It looks like pausing before you share that hot take. It looks like asking, what's the best version of the argument I disagree with? It looks like listening, not to respond, but to understand. It looks like letting go of the need to win every conversation and replacing it with a desire to learn. And yeah, it means accepting the cost. You might lose followers, you might get called names, you might feel left out of the moment. But what you gain is far more powerful. Clarity, honesty, and the ability to actually grow. And maybe, just maybe, you'll inspire someone else to do the same. Because even though herd thinking is contagious, so is courage. Sometimes, all it takes is one person stepping outside the circle to make others realize they can too. So if you know someone who falls for every conspiracy that pops up on their feed, if you've got a friend who parrots whatever the trending opinion is, no questions asked, or if you've ever caught yourself doing that, because hey, we all have, maybe share this video. Not to show off, not to prove you're smarter, but as a reminder, because in a world where going along with the herd is the easiest thing in the world, sometimes the most revolutionary act is just to think, to ask your own questions, to sit with your own doubts, to walk your own path, even if no one else is walking with you. Nietzsche believed that's what separates the great from the mediocre. Not talent, not education, not luck, but the willingness to face truth without a crowd to back you up. He knew it would be painful, lonely, scary, but also that it was worth it, because the people who change the world, really change it, are never the ones who went along. They're the ones who stepped out of line, who looked around and said, "This doesn't make sense," and had the courage to keep thinking, even when everyone else told them to stop. So ask yourself, seriously, what kind of thinker do you want to be? Because at the end of the day, your mind is yours, and the choice to use it, to really honestly, independently use it, is the most powerful rebellion you'll ever make. Thanks for watching. And if this sparked something in you, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more deep dives just like this one. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and whatever you do, don't stop thinking.